I'm coming to you today to once again ask for your help with our pipe bomb investigation.
This week, but the key here is that the bombs, they worked, but they didn't go off, Brooke. And law enforcement believes that that may have actually been a diversion, because when the pipe bombs were found on January 6th, officers rushed to that location while the rioters rushed in. So law enforcement believing this may have been a sophisticated actor or actors who remains undetected at this point, Brooke, 3 weeks later.
But instead of them immediately jumping out of their vehicles, setting a perimeter and making calls for VP Kamala Harris inside the DNC building to be whisked away to safety, they wait an extra minute or two from when after the backpack guy leaves to finally get out of their units. And for what it's worth, the backpack guy is reportedly a plainclothes Capitol Police officer, an important detail I'll get back to later. So when they finally get out of their units, you can see children walking by just a few feet away from a supposed live pipe bomb, and yet authorities never yell at them to get back. And in fact, the officers themselves all stand around the bomb very closely. They have another officer come over and take a quick picture of it. He gives them a thumbs up, and then they start making calls for the bomb squad to send into a robot to defuse it. It's all very strange, right?
There were wires, piping, and a timer, and it was right next to the Republican Party's headquarters.
You're on that edge of, I don't want to bother anybody, right? Like, I want to make sure this is real. You don't want to go down as the person who evacuates a city block for a hoax, but at the same time, there was just enough of that gut instinct that said, this isn't a place that you'd put a hoax. I have to have somebody check this out.
And she did. She would later learn it was the first of 2 bombs found in D.C. last Wednesday, the same day a mob attacked the U.S. Capitol in support of the president and his false claims the election was stolen. Investigators found the other device at the Democratic headquarters, and they shared an image of the person they believe planted both bombs and offered $50,000 to find him. But for Younger, the personal reward is knowing she was simply in a position to help.
For people who say, you potentially helped save a lot of lives, what do you say to that?
I mostly just say I got really lucky. The lesson that I've learned is really to just trust your gut, and if you see something, say something. But at the same time, there was just enough of that gut instinct that said, this isn't a place that you'd put a hoax. But at the same time, there was just enough of that gut instinct that said, this isn't a place that you'd put a hoax. I mostly just say I got really lucky. The lesson that I've learned is really to just trust your gut, and if you see something, say something.
What was the purpose of those devices being planted? Was it a diversionary type of a tactic used by some of these rioters?
After piecing together a route, primarily with ring camera footage from nearby homes, they believe the suspect first drove into the city with the explosives and parked a vehicle in a rare surveillance blind spot.
Well, again, I don't want to speculate about specific individuals. I will tell you that we have done thousands of interviews, reviewed something like 40,000 video files, of which this is one. Assessed 500-something tips.
Have you interviewed that person?
Devices. We have conducted all logical investigative steps and interviewed all logical indivials at this point.
Then you need, it's 900 days. You need to tell us what you found, because we're finding stuff you haven't released into the public.
But here we are 3 years later, and the FBI has no idea who that person is.